I'm Dr. Lisa Berkeley, President of the Democratic Women of Monterey County. I have the honor of being here with Jeff Barron, who is a mayoral candidate for Carmel-by-the-Sea, and also with my sister board member, Dr. Kim Barber. Throughout this interview, I will be responsible for timekeeping and recording, and Dr. Barber will be responsible for conducting the interview. Before we begin, I just want to say welcome, Dr. Kim, and welcome, Jeff.
Thank you.
Okay, so we were going to begin with a 1-minute opening statement from Jeff. Okay, Jeff.
Thank you. I have a pretty short opening statement. I believe among everything that the Democratic Party believes that government exists to serve people, to serve actual people that live and breathe and work in our communities. I think that my city council could do better when it comes to serving the people that live here and serving the people that work here. And I think that I offer the perspective that will allow that to happen.
Thank you so much. We appreciate your time today, and we thank you for that opening statement. I will begin with question 1. Please tell us what the top 3 most pressing issues are in your city and how you plan to address them. You have up to 5 minutes to respond.
For me, these issues span the range of from a range of local issues to regional issues. So I'll start at the top. Regional issues, I believe that by far the most pressing issue for our community is housing. I think that we see that in a number of different ways. Last night I was talking to some constituents at a gathering. Dr. Barber, I'm sure you know, and I'm sure Dr. Berkeley, about these things too. Gatherings with constituents as part of the campaign. And I heard about the problems of getting reasonably priced childcare. And someone couldn't understand why childcare is so difficult or so expensive to obtain. And I think that problems like that, when it comes to childcare, when it comes to supporting, for example, the restaurants in my community or anything, like that, I think that it comes down to the high cost of living. People can't afford to live here. People that make better wages still have to commute 45 minutes or an hour every day. This situation is untenable. The community, we are going to become a community of haves and have-nots, and I think that we need to do I think that we need to do a better job of finding places for people to live. We have undergone a pretty significant effort here to meet our RENA goals, and we're in the process of reevaluating those, figure out how to better integrate the housing component, how to better integrate the houses in our community into the broader housing landscape of what Carmel is, and I applaud that. The second thing that I would say that's a priority for people here is the dilapidated state of our police station. We have a police station that was built in the 60s that hasn't undergone significant amounts of work for literally, 60 years. It doesn't meet current policing requirements. We skate by. It doesn't meet seismic requirements. It's just a terrible facility. And so we are in the throes of trying to thrash out what to do about the police station. And the third thing I would say in terms of priorities is, over the course of the past 20 years, the forest here in town has been subject to a significant amount of neglect. And I think that we're starting to reap and over the course of the past 20 years, trees are falling, trees are diseased, trees are dilapidated. And to the constituents in my community, the forest canopy that Carmel is known for, the forest by the sea, is really important. And I hope to make a difference with that.
Okay, thank you. Question number 2 is dealing with housing. The California Democratic Platform supports, and I quote, allowing local communities to create strong tenant and affordability protections without the conflict of state law. What are your thoughts on this? You have up to 3 minutes to respond.
My personal thoughts on this are that every community should take steps to, how do you say it, enforce the ability of people to live affordably in their community. Um, I'm just speaking honestly, as much as I would like that here, I struggle with I would struggle with how to get my city council and my electorate to support measures that would do that. It's a real uphill battle. You know, to use one example of that, rent control would be a real uphill battle in my community, and I'm not sure. I'm just not sure how I would approach that. So I guess I do not have an answer as much as I would like to, have one.
Okay. The next question is on climate change. What are the main threats from climate change in your city and how will you address them? You have up to 3 minutes to respond.
Thank you. What I would say, the two main threats here in Carmel from climate change are one, um, sea level rise, which is going to impact the recreational opportunities here from the big sand dune we have at the bottom of Ocean Avenue to the beach that runs all along Scenic. And I think that addressing that is a years long battle to get the public to understand that um, you know, sea level rise is going to result in what's called the drowning of our beach. So if we maintain the beach, if we maintain the revetments and the seawalls along the beach, eventually we will not have a beach left as sea level rises. Um, the city of Carmel recently got a $500,000 grant from the Coastal Commission to explore retreat from the beach. So the first phase of that work is basically done. We understand if we choose to open our eyes, what is going to happen to the beach. But this grant will help us explore ways that we can either retreat from the beach or somehow mitigate the effects of sea level rise on our coast. The second thing that the city faces from climate change is the increasing severity, the decreasing number, but the increasing severity of the storms that our community is going to face. So we face that in a couple of areas. One, I sit here and I stare out at a 120-year-old, 3 foot diameter pine tree and wonder if that thing is going to come down on top of my house. We have to adjust our forest policies to accommodate these larger storms that are impacted, and I think that's going to be a fairly slow road. We are in love with our pine forest for good reason, and we just need to figure that out. The other effect from increasing storms that we will see are increasing amounts of water flowing down our hillside, and I think that a lot of the communities on the bay, on the Monterey Bay, will face this. But we have significant drainage problems. We have moderate drainage problems now, but we will have significant drainage problems in the future. And what I think about drainage is that nobody likes to talk about it. As my city manager says, we have friends of the forest or friends of the beach, but we do not have friends of the drainage system. And what I think is that we have a 20 or 25-year project to increase the capacity of our drainage system so that we don't flood houses, and that we need to stick to that.
Okay. The next question will pertain to women and racial rights or the significance of diversity, inclusion, and equity. Is there a gender and or racial gap on your commissions, committees, and boards in your city? If so, how will you address this? You have 3 minutes to respond.
That's a pretty interesting question, because if you go down the list of candidates for city council and mayor in my community, what you'll find are 8 men and no women. And when this question came up a couple of weeks ago, and I was talking to one of the city council candidates about that, he kind of, poo-pooed me and was like, well, sometimes stuff happens. And I think that that attitude that sometimes stuff happens is just putting our head in the sand and not doing the exploration of trying to figure out whether or not we here in my community have created an atmosphere that has somehow resulted in, you know, a lot of men running for office and no women running for office. To answer your question, yes, obviously at the top, there's a problem. And I don't know, to be honest, I don't know what the problem is. I, I expend a considerable amount of effort to recruit people to run for office. I think I don't know whether I've ever talked to you about it. Like I've recruited people to run against me 2 years ago. I recruited people to run in this election because I think that running for office is a great form of public service and very valuable to the community. But we just have a problem recruiting women. Um, in terms of the other boards and commissions, I would say we're mm, I would say that we're 50-50 in terms of men and women. When I go down the planning commission, 2 women on the planning commission, forest and beach commission, 3 women, 3 out of 5. So I would say in terms of gender gap, I would say no. In terms of racial gap, what do I don't know how to address, as I sit here and look at Dr. Barber, I don't know how to address that other than to say I live in a white community. Like I don't, I can't, it's not my place to apologize for that. I think that that's what it is, and that's where we are. Yes, so yes, I think we have a problem, and yes, would hope to figure it out.
Okay, thank you. And so to conclude, we would like to have you to end with your closing statement. What would you like our listeners to take away about you and your candidacy today? You have 1 minute.
Thank you.
Mhm.
I think I'm a candidate that has experience on the council. I've been on the council for 6 years. I think that gives me the ability to understand how democracy works, how bureaucracy works, and I think that my public outreach efforts in terms of door knocking and office hours that I have every month or every week during campaign season have given me an insight into how to serve the people that live and work in our community, in addition to the people that are able to come to city council meetings for 4 hours every month. I'm proud of my record of serving everyone in my community, and I hope that I will get your endorsement. Thank you very much for the opportunity.
Thank you.
Oh, thank you very much, Dr. Kim Barber and Jeff Barron, for your time and for being with us. We wish you, Jeff, the best of luck in your candidacy, and we look forward to seeing you all in the near future. Thank you again, everyone, for being with us. Have a great rest of the day or evening, and well, bye.
Take care. Bye-bye.
Hi, everyone. I'm Dr. Lisa Berkeley, President of the Democratic Women of Monterey County. I'm here today on a recorded interview with mayoral candidate for Carmel-by-the-Sea, Dave Potter. I'm here with my sister DWMC board member, Dr. Kim Barber, and she will be conducting this interview, and I'll be responsible for timekeeping and recording. We're going to begin this with an opening statement with Dave Potter giving his opening candidate statement, and he'll have 1 minute to do this. From there, Dr. Kim Barber will take on the following questions. All right. Welcome, Kim, and welcome, Dave.
Thank you.
Thank you.
And Dave, you've got 1 minute to give us your opening statement. There'll be a timer in the screen.
I'm Dave Potter. I'm running for mayor of Carmel-by-the-Sea. I am the incumbent mayor. I think one of the things that I was proudest of was when I ran the last time, was the house of Carmel, when Carmel was a bit of a mess. We were being perceived as being very secretive. We had all sorts of allegations of improprieties going on. When I ran, I said I would bring the council back to be doing the public's business in public. No more allegations of, backroom deals or anything like that. We were able to go ahead and make those changes happen. One of the things I said was I would want to make sure that the public was not embarrassed, or the council was not embarrassed by our actions. We'd be on the paper for doing the right thing, not the wrong thing. I'm proud to say that we accomplished that today, and I'm proud to say that the council is working well together. Thank you.
Thank you so much. We appreciate you taking time with us today, and we appreciate your opening statement. I will begin with the first question. Please tell us what the top 3 most pressing issues are in your city and how you plan to address them. You have up to 5 minutes to respond.
Well, one of the things that's been a real challenge is our RENA numbers, the Regional Housing Needs Analysis numbers. We went from 31 housing units to 349. It's been a real challenge to figure out how to get those numbers to work in the city of Carmel. We're only 1.1 square mile. But I think one of the things that we are proud of is we did get our numbers done. We got them done. We were one of the first cities to actually be able to submit our numbers. We were very open and candid about how we were going to do it. We got the public acceptance of what we've done. One of the things that is a challenge, though, is we've got 2 pieces of public property. We like to make sure we don't have a large concentration of affordable housing on. We've got a group called the AHA Group, the Affordable Housing Alternatives Group. It's working very hard to go ahead and figure out how to make that happen without decompromising the public property. We've also got the ability to go ahead and create a new police station. Police station's been a challenge for years. It's been changed every year. Every time a new mayor comes along, they go ahead and start up the process. It's been a real challenge to get that done. One of the things that was a problem is when I first got into office, we had the pandemic hit. We had to get ahead and try to put a powder dry, go ahead and make sure that we were doing the right thing as far as the public process goes. One of the things that the challenge was going ahead and figuring out how to keep our economy going during the pandemic. Going ahead and we get the college working together now. We got the community working together. We got the Carmel Residents Association and realized that the Commercial Property Owners Association, the Carmel Chamber of Commerce, is a good organization. They meet regularly and they discuss issues together. Like to keep that going. So it's a challenge to keep the city together. We disparate opinions. One of the things that's kind of annoying is now we've got this big argument going on about street numbers. I don't think that's a real pressing issue, but it's taking a lot of time. What we got to do is we got to figure out how to prioritize the priorities the council wants to get done in the city, so we can go ahead and make sure that we get the policies established early on. I think one of the things that's concerning me about the possibility of changing leadership right now, every time we change leadership in the city, we start all over again. That's an opportunity to keep the council together. Go ahead and make sure that we go ahead and get the right decisions done. One of the things I'm concerned about is also the fact that we could have a Democratic majority on the council. If Jeff Barron is elected, we won't have that. We got to forget Hans Brunner on the council, and we get me to stay and Jeff stays. We got a council majority that's Democratic. Big deal for the city. Major concern of mine. The city representatives Democratic. We've also got change of council that's going to be very significant coming up. We're going to have 2 new people on the council, at least. That's going to be significant. Never had, and no, not only that, but this is the first time we've ever had no women running for the council, working for mayor. That's unheard of in this city. It's wrong, actually. I'd rather see women's representation on the council too. So it's a challenge to go ahead and make sure we get the right representation out that understands the women's perspective. So I think those are issues that are concerning me.
Okay, thank you so much. Now, question number 2 is concerning housing. The California Democratic platform supports, and I quote, allowing local communities to create strong tenant and affordability protections without the conflict of state law. What are your thoughts on this? You have up to 3 minutes to respond.
Well, I think that the problem is that, could you repeat the question? I'm sorry.
Sure. The California Democratic platform supports, and I quote, allowing local communities to create strong tenant and affordability protections without the conflict of state law. What are your thoughts on this? And you have up to 3 minutes to respond.
I think that it's important that we go ahead and have prompt protections locally. I think that if we had a registry for voters, for a register of apartments, affordable housing, we know what we've got in place. Carmel housing is not affordable. We need to be able to sort of increase our affordable housing base. We've gone ahead and done that with our RENA number process I spoke about earlier. I think that we can go ahead and do that. I'd like to see us go ahead and make sure that the affordability aspect is prominent front and center for the whole community, so that we don't have to have this attitude that Carmel is only for the rich and famous. We've got to make sure that our workforce has a place to stay and live. I think we should create a housing registry for the city. I also would like to see us go ahead and make sure that when we go ahead and have our affordable housing, it's affordable in perpetuity, not just for the sake of creating ADUs that are going to be second bedrooms. I think we need to go ahead and make sure that we can go ahead and we keep the affordability at the front of the line.
Okay, thank you. The third question is on climate change. What are the main threats from climate change in your city, and how will you address them? You have up to 3 minutes to respond.
Mhm. Well, climate change is a big threat nationally. We're in Carmel, we live at the risk of losing our entire waterfront. We've got the whole fact that Carmel Beach is losing footage on a daily basis, on an annual basis. We got to see, we set some committee that's been formed to go ahead and analyze climate change in the county, in the city, figure out what we're going to be able to do. We got to go ahead and make sure that we don't do this in a scenic road. We don't leave any houses down there. So we've got to have a proactive plan, which we're working on very aggressively. I think we're going to have some issues about the climate change in the forecast when we talk about the increase in sea level rise in the ocean along Scenic Avenue. That's our main threat right now.
Mhm. Thank you. The next question pertains to women and racial rights, and also significance of diversity, inclusion, and equity. Is there a gender or a racial gap on your commissions, committees, and boards in your city? If so, how will you address this? You have 3
Well,
minutes to respond.
I did mention earlier that there is a gender problem coming up before the council now. We've never seen it where there at least had been one female candidate running. It's very odd that there isn't. Very disappointed in that, frankly. The diversity that we get when we have women on board involved is we get the representation that we need. We are a very diverse community. We've had before. We've always had 2 women on council at least. Now we don't have any. We only have 1. And Ms. Alessandra's great, but she's only one voice. We need more women represented. I don't know what I can do about that as far as candidates go, but I'd like to encourage more women to run for partners in office. When I was on the board of supervisors many years ago, I was sitting there and Edith Johnson said to me, Dave, one of the things you got to realize is women are much bigger on how to make problems solve, how to solve problems than men are. That's why is that. And she said, well, women come in and they've got an attitude that we can share things, that we can figure out how to be diverse and it would be better in representation. I found that to be the case in my career.
Okay, thank you so much. So now we will end with your closing statement. What would you like our listeners to take away about you and your candidacy today? You have 1 minute.
Well, one of the things I bring experience. I've been on the California Coastal Commission. I've been in the Board of Supervisors, been in local government for over 30 years. And I think it's important that we can realize that it's not about this is something you just drop in and all of a sudden start doing. You got to have an understanding of what the process is. Process is maybe a little bit protracted at times, but it's important to realize that we have a process we have to go through, and the process involves the public. You can't just come in and say you're going to dictate to the public how you're going to do things. I think one of the things we need to understand is that public process is the most important part of all government. It's the public involvement. I've been very good about providing that. I like to run an efficient meeting. I like to be, I am in stature rather short, but I do think we can be very effective in getting the answers we need, effective in getting the policies set for the public. Thank you very much.
Thank you. We appreciate your time with us today at DWMC. And now this time I will turn it back over to my sister, Dr. Lisa Berkeley.
Thank you, Dr. Kim, and thank you, Dave, for being with us. And we look forward to seeing the outcome of the race and wish you, Dave, all of the best of luck in your run. Thank you again for your time, and we'll see you soon. Bye-bye.
Thank you, guys.